Good morning, people on this Sunday morning, February 18th, 2024. This month is flying by very quickly. Here we are at G.school. Looks like something's crooked here. Is it me? Am I crooked? Am I leaning like this? Okay. So anyway, here we are at G.school. Another day. Good morning, what a bevy. Good to see you there so bright and early. Bright-tailed and bunny-eyed, as Lucy would say. It's good to be alive. Okay, so here we are at G.school. So we're no longer going to say career services on weekends. We're going to say we're here at G.school. The theme of today is what if you knew God's plan for you? Aha. What if you knew God's plan for you? Okay, so we're going to get to that a little bit later, but just an introduction to those people who don't know what we're doing. If you don't know what we're doing here, see description down below. This is a daily podcast to help you get from where you are to someplace better, to help you learn the tools to have more of a life of meaning and purpose, or to make it easier for you to have a life of meaning and purpose. The podcast is everybody is welcome, but our podcast is designed for people who are not successful, according to our definition, not successful, and people who are pre-Christians. So we dropped the term non-believers to pre-Christians. Sort of like you have diabetics, but then you have people who are pre-diabetic. So this is for people who are pre-Christian, not non-believers. Because it's kind of like if you say if you verbalize you're a non-believer, down there in your brain, you have this thing of I'm a non-believer. That's my self-identity. I am a non-believer. Thus, when anything comes at you to help you become a believer, your self-identity is, no, I'm a non-believer, so I got to disregard that. I'm a pre-Christian, which implies what? What does it imply? It implies that one day you will what? Become a Christian. Ding, ding, ding. What do we have for Johnny? So the podcast, this daily podcast, is really designed, it's aimed at our core demographic, or as Seth Godin would say, your smallest viable market are people who are not successful and they are pre-Christians. That's it. Now, you can come if you're successful. You can watch if you are a Christian. However, you're going to be judgmental. You're going to be comparing what you hear to what you do. And you're kind of already at stage B. You're already at point B. You've gone from point A to point B. You're already at point B. So if you do come here, what you should tell yourself, the mental state you should have is, I want to learn what other people think, or I want to learn what pre-Christians think. I want to be able to understand how people who are not successful, what challenges they have. Because if I can watch this podcast and see how they're helping people become successful, maybe I can do that too. Instead of trying to tell them, just be like me, it'd be like, no, do these things, have these habits, have these routines, do this repetition thing. So if you are successful, you could watch this with the mindset of, I am going to help other people become successful, not saying just do what I did. But do these simple things. Repetition, routine, habit. Okay? Or if you are a Christian and you could watch this from the perspective of, how can I help pre-Christians bridge that gap and help them get to this side. Once they get to this side, once they're a Christian, then they can follow my path. But my experience is that people who are Christians are not good at getting other people to become Christians. Why? Because the number of people who go to church is declining. The number of people who go to church is becoming much more focused and crystallized. You can see the people who go to church look different than the people who don't go to church. Okay. Maybe 1,000 people in Pahrump go to church on Sunday. Is that good? No, that sucks. So whatever they're doing isn't working. So people who are, in quotes, Christians could watch this to say, how could I help people who are pre-Christian become Christian? What's another way? Because my way really isn't working. And I could say, anybody who thinks their way is working here in Pahrump, you're mistaken, because nobody's moving the mark. 1 or 2 people a day, a week, is not moving the mark. It's just not. Anyway, so that's 6 minutes and 30 seconds in. Let's look at our worksheet, because the real benefit of this is not the repetition, it is the worksheet. And today's worksheet, we've redesigned the worksheet again, always trying to make it better, trying to improve upon it, making it more simple, easy to understand. So we have a 2-part daily routine. The post-podcast, I'm going to change that to non-podcast. 4-part non-podcast, which is preparation, breathing exercise, attitude of gratitude, exercise, review of yesterday exercise, and project the day and move forward exercise. And then we have our 2-part podcast, which is our theme, daily theme. Change that to daily, our daily theme, and planning. And then down below we have some general information, scripture and prayers, which is getting to be quite long, notes, and notes from other times. So cool. Now, how are things with you, Wadabevi? If you're still there, how are things in Virginia? Have you talked to your sisters or brother? Your brother? Excelente. Good. Excelente. Yes, I called Luch last night. I called Luck Lucy. Good. How is Lucha Libre? Okay, while we're doing that, let's get ready for, while I'm waiting to hear from that, let's get ready to rumble. Okay, so daily theme. What if you knew God's plan? God's plan is really pretty simple. But let's look at some things for planning. This is a 4-part transformational program where we focus on physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual to help people with their unique journey from someday Isle to Successlandia, which is over the horizon, separated by denial and the predictably unpredictable sea. For people who are ready, willing, and able to work and want to navigate to their best future. Here, we provide all essential services: housing, clothing, food, hygiene, smartphone, transportation, foundational employment, education, career, coaching, and counseling, plus medical, mental health. All righty then. So, simple things to know. You should have a slogan. Focus on your slogan. Advice from an 80-year-old: be romantic. 3 simple goals. Have 3 simple goals for today, which could be wash my sheets. Excuse me. 3 simple goals for today. TED Talk for today is this is week 3, day 7 of our 4-week neuroscience-oriented approach to success. Jerry Maguire, How to Tell a Good Story, based on this week's thing. Prayer. And then we have our daily prayers. Okay. General info, websites, how to schedule a call with us, a bunch of scriptural things that you should know, that these things all support what we're going to talk about today. All righty then. How are we doing for time? Time. Such a runic rhyme. Okay, it's hard to tell how she is. Oh, good. Good on Lucy. What is God's plan? What if you knew God's plan? Okay, well, it's really pretty simple. So if we start from the belief that the Bible is true, but we have misunderstood it. And if we start from the very simple stuff, we know we're going to die. Everybody can agree on that. Some point in time, we're going to die. Now, the question is, what happens after we die? Are we atoms in the void, meaning nothing, or is something going to happen? And if we're atoms in the void and nothing happens, then there is no morality. Those are just artificial rules people put on themselves. In the objective world, nothing matters. It just becomes down to preferences. So if you prefer to be free, you don't want to do things that are going to end up getting you in jail or killed. Okay, but there is no ultimate morality. There's no right or wrong, good or bad. None of that matters. It's just what you choose to be, and nothing is going to happen if you don't follow somebody else's rules once you're dead, because then it's over. Okay? Now, on the other hand, you could choose to believe something happens after you die. We're not just atoms in the void. And there's getting to be strong evidence, Parnia's lab at NYU, that after we die, something does happen. How do we know? Well, there's a link down below to a movie documentary about this lab and the work they've done to show that, number one, brain cells do not die immediately. It takes hours. And so people who have been dead, clinically dead, brought back to life. These are not near-death experiences. These are dead people coming back to life, being brought back to life, because it turns out brain cells don't die immediately. They don't die quickly from lack of oxygen. They die when the heart starts and blood starts flowing, oxygen comes in. That's what kills them, not the other way. So there are instances where people are dead, brain activity stops, they stop breathing by the standards, they're dead. And then they're brought back. And these are typically people who have been frozen. So everything slows very well down. Okay. And they're brought back, but then this strange thing happens, is that they had experiences during the time they had no brain activity. And they talk about particular things having to do with what happens after you die. So they don't talk about, oh yeah, I went back in time to this time in my life. I went to that time. I went to this other time. I went to this fantasy place. It was, no, this is a life review and things like that are all consistent with there is something after death. And then, of course, there's a subset of people who die and come back and talk about things that they can't possibly talk about because they're born blind. So if you're born blind, you can't possibly talk about what does the forest look like from the distance. Okay, because you can't do that. So, not everybody though. And so Sophie brings the thing. So the question is for people who've OD'd, that's, unless they're dead, by the standards of what a doctor says dead. They pronounce you're dead. No brain activity, no heart rate. And it's not necessarily everybody. It's only like 80%. Anyway, so there's this compelling evidence that when you die, something happens after you die, and the people come back and their life changes based upon the experience they had. So we all can agree we're all going to die, and then you get to choose to believe whether something happens or nothing happens. And I would say you should choose to believe something happens. Because if you act as if something's going to happen and it doesn't happen, then you're going to be remembered as a good person. If you choose to act like nothing is there and something's actually there, will probably not be good. So a thing that you can believe is that, consistent with the Bible, is that God, who's pure energy, decided to create the universe. And this creator, or creators, created the universe in order to experience what it would be like to be non-pure energy. So boom, the universe comes into existence, and the creator experiences it hyper-vicariously as the thing. So we go from non-baryonic to baryonic and then as the universe unfolds, the creator experiences that firsthand. And then of evolution, billions of years pass, the creator experiences that. Man comes along and the creator experiences what it's like to be man. And we know from the Bible this is true because it says the kingdom of heaven is within you. The Holy Spirit is within you, an indwelling. Okay. And so we have the gift of what? Life. So we have been created. We have the gift of life, and God's plan is for you to live your life. And God is going to experience, the Creator is going to experience your life vicariously through you, what it's like to be alive through you. And you can choose to either be like the Creator and create good things, happiness, love, etc., or you can go the other way. And so it seems logical that the Creator would want, and since we're made in the image of the Creator, right? Made in the image of the Creator would want us to go out and create and do good, and to do as what? Jesus said, love one another as I have loved you. So if we do that, if we go out and love one another as I have loved you, what are we going to do? We're going to help other people, right? We're going to have an outward focus. And I would say that is the very simple God's plan. God lives hyper-vicariously. God, the Creator, creators, live hyper-vicariously through within us. And our duty, our opportunity, the way we repay the gift of life, with the way we reciprocate, is simply to nurture and share the presence of the Creator within us. How do we do that? To love one another as I have loved you. Boom, simple. So in my class yesterday, and I know time is running out, in my class yesterday, we're talking about healing and talking about all these complicated things. We're going to do these circles, we're going to do this, and coming to the table, and these people, and those people, and they have their problems, they have this, and it comes down to, you know what? You know what? If we just did John 15:12, loved one another as I have loved you, what would happen? What would the world be like if everybody just did that? Now, let's say you run into somebody who doesn't do that. What do? Well, at a certain point, you just move out of their thing because they're destructive. But the starting point would be to be an example, a light. Again, this is right out of the Bible. Be a lamp. Put it on a lampstand. Put it on a shelf where it can be seen, not hidden in a closet. Don't be one of these people that says, I only care about my own salvation. You got to take care of your own. No. Be a light. You will attract the light. The darkness will go away, or you can avoid them. All right. Well, this is a record. Sorry, apologies for it being so long. What a bevy. Thank you. I am more grateful. Let's reach out to Catman Joe today. Perhaps Edward. I reached out to Roxanne yesterday. Maybe I'll reach out to Elise. But yeah, okay, people. Rizzle Razum, as they say in Blazing Saddles.